All right. Well, I'm getting pretty excited. I don't know about you, but I love to get started now today. So this is the Miracles Healing Intensive, and so there's this class and there's the seminar coming up on Sunday. And so this class is, I really didn't even know what to bring in because there's so much still that I want to do. So maybe I continue this class because I've no idea how to put it all in here today. And but I found something that might be a really good preparation for the seminar this weekend too. So, and that is to feel the joint effort of what we're doing, even though it comes down to your individual acceptance. There's still, say, a release for the whole kingdom, so to speak, a release for the whole humanhood connected to the healing. And so that's what I want to keep in mind. So one of the things and one of the topics of tonight is going to be like the title of it's actually a lesson. It is this. First, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. So that's a lesson that's in the Miracle Healer's Handbook. It is always one of my favorite lessons. But we're going to take a look at a couple of really basic words that we use. And that is, one of them is sickness. What is actually sickness? Because in order to deal with sickness, you have to know what it is. And so it's a bit different defined than, that's the same as the idea of death. It's a bit differently used in the Course in Miracles than anywhere else, basically. And that's why it's good to read this and to come into to an understanding about these terms that we use. So sickness is one, death is one, and there will be more. So I'll not spoil everything right now, right away. But see, the same as with the idea of atonement, for instance. Atonement you can see as the undoing of what never was. It's like that what is left over, so to speak, that what is real doesn't need any definition. So when something is undone and what is there, what is just there, is what is. So you don't expect the idea of atonement directly connected to the idea of undoing, but if you read it like that, then it becomes very personal. The same as the idea of forgiveness. It's like forgiveness. What is that? Well, giving up the ideas that you think that your brother did something to you is a totally different, say, definition than if you think that your brother did something to you and now you have to forgive it. We have been with these terms, but so today the idea of sickness is also different, and that is all that can. That can be interesting to hear about that too, because it is more like, oh yeah, here's another one. See, they're all popping in now. So another one is guilt, for instance. So what is guilt? So being just slightly off the mark is what guilt is. Thinking that there's such thing as separation, or living by that, is already what guilt is. Just being slightly off the mark, so to speak. And so these terms, you got to get them straight in order to hear what is being said, and also to help yourself to come into a real direct feeling connected to what is being said, because this is about you. This is not about the observation of you. No, this is about you as an extension of the reality that you are. You coming from your Trinity. You channeling your or extending the love that you are. And that is as a real opportunity, not some kind of dream that who knows when it is going to happen. So the directness and the totalness of it is what makes this so exciting and also so full of opportunities that are actually totally within your reach. And that's why presenting this is very exciting to me, because it is. Oh yes, I would love to free anyone, absolutely myself included, free anyone of limiting ideas that I carry around while they're actually just off the mark, so to speak. They're just not where this is about, or what your reality is. They have nothing to do with what your reality is. So I would love to drop them. So then the same thing happens with the idea of healing. When healing occurs to you, when you accept this healing for yourself, then you see that you're not healed alone. No, of course not, because you literally enter back into your brotherhood. You see that there's no separation. And of course you have a totally different function in the same time then. So that's what we're going to discover with this lesson too. Then after that, we will use the lesson about sickness. Sickness is a defense against the truth. And that's, it has been an interesting lesson, because what the lesson says can be confronting you in a way that a really good understanding of what actually is being shared is very important in order to accept what is being given. And so that's another part of the class today. But first of all, like always, we have to let ourselves be. We have to let go of ideas that are occupying our mind at this point, and basically just to sit back and relax. See, that's the same as when I played the music. I actually felt like, oh my God, can you feel how over this is? You know, can you feel how this is done, so to speak? And then that felt to me like as a real beautiful feeling of freedom, actually, that I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. It is more like receiving what is there, and also seeing that is accomplished at the same time. So it's not that we have to work hard at it or this or that. No, of course there's training that's connected to this, and of course there's willingness. Basically, that's the most important thing of all of this. Like, you have to be willing, but not willing to do something, no, willing to let go of something. So that is, letting go is not really a doing, you know. Letting go is letting go. That's not a doing, it's just not holding on, basically. And also not bringing it back in and to digest it again, or to bring it into an idea that you hold about yourself. You know, like the fabric that you made about your past life, your life up till now, that you carry with you or drag with you as a carpet behind you. Like the undoing of that, the dropping of all of that, the letting go of ideas connected to what you think you are, and staying in the letting go, literally, to stay in the constant letting go instead of holding on, is then very helpful in this process. And so that's basically what is asked in this class too. It's not about trying to get more understanding or more knowledge, or no, that will be given as soon as you allow the space for that to occur. And in order for your mind to have more space, it is basically not to use your mind in the usual human way as an active way of directive or comparison or analysis. No, it has to be open. Your mind only needs to be open. Like, you know literally what to do. You come into your knowing if you're not disturbed by the things that are happening in your mind as a normal mind activity of a human being. Like I read it this morning in the Urtext too. It's like up to the moment where the mind started thinking, basically from that moment on, there was no rest. There was no rest. Like, and you cannot even stop your mind. So it is like continuously disrupting. So as long as you listen to that, it will be disrupting. So no matter what beautiful things you read, if you still start to follow up on what your mind is thinking, it will disturb your peace, literally. Peace of God. Like, to experience the peace of God is not even possible when your mind is that active in continuing to value and validate your thoughts. So that's good to know, and that makes it also, doable, because when you train your mind, like some of us did today, like, okay, these lessons, my thoughts do not mean anything. So the next step, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things in this room. They don't mean anything either. So when I listen to this music that we just listened to, you see that, at least I came to this realization. It's like, look at how over this is. And not the music, that the music is over. No, it shows me literally that this is over. And that is great. That's very exciting to me, because I don't need to hold on to this. What is real is real anyway, that will continue to exist. So that's so great about that. Okay, to start off with the lesson, because I really think we need some time to go through that, because it is a real miracle healer's lesson in that sense. Because if you didn't do it for yourself, you did it for someone else. And this is like, here it comes together. This is literally, when you accept this for yourself, you give it to your brother. The first step is that you receive this for yourself, and in that you give it to your brother. But how that is stated, I will read some paragraphs for you. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. Today's idea remains the central thought on which salvation rests. For healing is the opposite of all the world's ideas, which dwell on sickness and on separated states. Sickness is a retreat from others and a shutting off from joining. So here's your new definition of sickness. Sickness is a retreat from others and a shutting off of joining. It becomes a door that closes on a separate self and keeps it isolated and alone. Sickness is isolation, for it seems to keep oneself apart from all the rest, to suffer what the others do not feel. It gives the body final power to make the separation real, and keep the mind in solitary prison, split apart, and held in pieces by a solid wall of sickened flesh, which it cannot surmount. The world obeys the laws that sickness serves, but healing operates apart from them. It is impossible that anyone be healed alone. In sickness must he be apart and separate, but healing is his own decision to be one again, and to accept his self with all its part intact and unassailed. In sickness does his self appear to be dismembered, and without the unity that gives it life. But healing is accomplished as he sees the body has no power to attack the universal oneness of God's Son. See, and I can continue on. This is great stuff, so to speak, to discover what it actually means what sickness actually is. It's like separating yourself off. So that is the same as one of the lessons that we read this morning in the say the first 5. I see only the past. It's like in that is the separation. In that I can make the separation real for myself. Like the separation then is what the sickness is. Thinking that you can be separate. And keeping that for yourself, making that real for yourself is quite a bit of work. You probably get a lot of support in the world too, because it is like, oh, that's so bad that you have that. Oh my God, you get a lot of attention when you bring this out to others, that you feel something that they cannot feel. That is validating that idea is really giving it meaning for yourself, and literally using that form to create a situation where you can actually feel that you have your little kingdom, that you have your little solitude in which things can occur that you decide. So it is like you don't want to be dependent on anything. You don't want to open up to anything else. You need to defend yourself in that, to make that real for yourself and see it back in all the symptoms and all the stages and all the ways that it comes to you, that it appears to come to you. It appears to come to you that way. So this is not always a completely conscious process, of course. So it's like you want the part, it seems like, to come to you, as if the body decides that you're going to be ill. Or even worse, like you think that God wants you to go through this sickness in order to learn a lesson or something. Like, no, that is never the case. But here, so the idea of sickness being nothing else but being separate is good to keep in mind, in heart, in mind. I'm doing like this and I say mind. So, it's like you have to bring that back to yourself, that is the what is happening with sickness, and not to use that in terms of defending it. No, just to be aware of that. Because it actually just shows you how important it is for you to be open to join, to be open to receive, and to let go of your ideas about what everything is, instead of trying to create your own bubble in which that all can occur. So this is actually bringing you closer to the say the urgency that you find yourself in. Like, there is help. There is no such thing as separation. That was just a dream. So by opening that up in yourself, that can shift really quick. So I have personal experiences with it in terms of I was in a depressive state one time, and didn't know how to get out of it. I tried things, but I actually didn't really feel like doing anything about it. But then suddenly someone gave me a book, and I read one line. It's like it confirmed the connectedness to someone else on the other side of the world. He wrote something, and that was just totally lovely, confirming the connectedness with me. And by reading that, something really clicked for me. It's like, I can't believe this. Wow. So that it was like, suddenly there was a crack in that bubble that I created for myself. And I came really quick out of that. It's like something really shifted in that moment. So that was beautiful to see that healing could take place without much effort at all. I didn't have to dive deep into my psyche to discover why I was so depressed or this or that. No, it was just like, book, I can't believe this. My God. one way or another it hit me, and it helped me to see that there is no separation. Just this simple idea that came to me. And that is how simple that is. You cannot believe how simple that is. But say to stay in an open-mindedness, to stay in your right mind, if you want, is then to stay in the remembrance of the connectedness, of the healing that takes place on a moment-by-moment basis. You don't have to slide off into separation, or validate ideas connected to separation. So healing must thus be called a counter-dream, which cancels out the dream of sickness in the name of truth, but not in truth itself. Just as forgiveness overlooks all sins that never were accomplished, healing but removes illusions that have not occurred. Just as the real world will arise to take place of what has never been at all, healing but offers restitution for imagined states and false ideas, which dreams embroider into the picture of the truth. See, that's the embroidering, the knitting of your little carpet that you drag with you, so to speak, what you call your past or your life even, is then what is described here as embroidery. I like all these terms that are being used. So just as forgiveness overlooks all sins that never were accomplished, healing removes illusions that have not occurred. See, that was the same as the healing moment I had when I listened to the music. It's like you can feel how over this is. Like whatever happened before is gone now. It is completely gone. And that makes it really totally brings it back to this moment when we meet, when we come together to join as one, receiving a gift for us, receiving a gift from our Creator, literally in this instant, and extend it to one another by being completely open on the edge of your seat to listen to what's actually being shared, and to receive every drop of what is being offered. This is the thing that you can do then, in that sense, is like being completely open and receptive. Because by you doing so, you're actually giving that to one another. And that's the same what we're going to practice in the seminar too, on Sunday it is. It's like being so open to one another that you actually support each other in just standing there, just expressing yourself as that what you are. So that is so great, and you can feel that when that is happening. Like suddenly it's like everything opens up. Literally, when you feel the connectedness, there's a miracle happening. Like you literally come into the truth of the unity. So the false ideas about that you are a separate identity living somewhere around the world and having your location there and blah blah blah, so many years old, and this history, like leaving that behind offers you the immediacy of being in this direct communication with one another, receiving the direct communication from God. And that is so exciting and direct and fresh and new all the time. So that is so lovely. That's so lovely to share that in this moment together. Okay, healing is freedom, for it demonstrates that dreams will not prevail against the truth. Healing is shared, and by this attribute it proves that laws, unlike the ones which hold that sickness is inevitable, are more potent than their sickly opposites. Healing is strength, for by its gentle hand is weakness overcome, and minds that were walled off within a body, free to join with other minds, to be forever strong. Healing is freedom. Healing is shared. Healing is strength. So great. Healing, forgiveness, and the glad exchange of all the world of sorrow for a world where sadness cannot enter are the means by which the Holy Spirit urges you to follow Him. His gentle lessons teach how easily salvation can be yours, how little practice you need undertake to let this law, His laws, replace the ones you made to hold yourself a prisoner to death. His life becomes your own, as you extend the little help He asks in freeing you from everything that ever caused you pain. Wow, so that is so cool too. His gentle lessons teach how easily salvation can be yours, how little practice you need undertake to let His laws replace the ones you made to hold yourself a prisoner to death. His life becomes your own as you extend the little help He asks in freeing you from everything that ever caused you pain. See, and that is so great that this says this, like He asks you the little help He asks in freeing you from everything that ever caused you pain. And this is where what I meant too with the idea of letting go. It's like you will come into the places that have hurt you. They will come up again. You know, it's like it's inevitable. You're going to face them again. If they were not healed, you carry them with you as a scar somewhere in your system. Like you take them with you, so they will come up. There will be situations, and suddenly you feel that is there. That an old memory comes back. It appears to be an old memory of pain, of sorrow, of loneliness, of sadness, of abandonment, of scarcity, or whatever it is. But see, these things in your transformation come up just to take another look at it, because they come up in the moment that you actually are able to heal them, to let them be healed. So that is why this is pretty intense to go through this process of transformation. But be sure of this, is that you have the great help. So the only help that is being asked of you is being willing to move through this and see that, oh, I had no idea. If you had told me before, then I would have known. I just have to pass through this. There's not so much that I have to do with it, but feeling it, going through it, not ignoring it, but really listening what the next step is and letting the healing occur to me by releasing ideas I hold about myself and seeing that can be done really quick. That's actually pretty easy. You know, the holding on is basically always what is the most painful. So when you say like, oh, it's so difficult to let go of, it's like, well, you didn't do that yet because you're actually holding on. The holding on is very painful. So you might as well try to let go of it. But see, that is very normal in the human sense. Like to let go is, if you come to the point of letting go, then it's easy. When you feel that you have nothing to lose, you just drop it and let it go. So that's the same with situations that recur, that come back to you over years, or over months, over weeks, over days. They come back to you in a certain way. It's exactly the same setup, but every time a little bit more painful. So now what are you going to do with that? So here it says like you go through it by allowing that, by being willing to let this be healed for you. You know, that is all that is being asked. Very little effort on your part, just moving through that. And being aware of the fact that this is not coming up to be repeated again. No, this is coming up for healing. And when that has happened, it will not return back to you. So you literally have to only do that once total in order to move through it. Okay, so when you allow this healing to occur to you, this can happen, you know. And as you let yourself be healed, you see all those around you, or who cross your mind, or whom you touch, or those who seem to have no contact with you, healed along with you. Perhaps you will not recognize them all, nor realize how great your offering to all the world is when you let healing come to you. But you are never healed alone, and legions upon legions will receive the gift that you receive when you are healed. Those who are healed, and here you go, this is a description of you. Those who are healed become the instruments of healing. Nor does time elapse between the instant they are healed and the grace of healing it is given them to give. What is opposed to God does not exist, and who accepts it not within his mind becomes a haven where the weary can remain to rest. For here is truth bestowed, and here all illusions brought to truth. So those who are healed become the instrument of healing. So I said, okay, this is a description of you. It's like you allow this healing to occur to you. You go through your ordeals. You sit right in the middle of it, not knowing what to do with it. But at least you're not escaping it anymore. So you move right through it, and that's basically the only thing that's being asked. So you become an instrument of healing. You become a restful place for wearied minds, you know. So you can offer that to others by your stillness that is settling in you, and because of the practice that you did, because of the ordeal that you went through yourself. So you can trust that. So people come to you and they don't even know why they want to be with you or want to spend time with you, but they feel really good when they're around you. So that's very common. You know, that is what you have to. That's what you can give in this sense. So that's also good to know, and it's also good to hear that. You know, it's like, yeah, that is happening. So allow that to occur. It's part of that too. It's part of your healing too. And see that every step, and this is pretty amazing. Every step that you receive for yourself, every healing that you allow yourself to occur, is immediately being used by the universe to extend that to others who are in just exactly the same situation as you just were a moment ago. Seeing that you now can help them just because you went through it, because you're not running away for it, or you're not afraid of it anymore. No, you can give them literally your certainty that something has occurred in you, and that makes you, it gives you the ability to support and to give that to them. So that's so great. It's not that you have to finish your whole school, so to speak, or your whole academy in order to come to this. No, this goes step by step. Like it is such a perfect setup that you can't believe it. Every step that you went through and that you allowed that healing to occur to you, you immediately are invited to extend that to your brothers. It will happen naturally. People will come to you with the same situation, almost the same situations that you were in. But you're not afraid of it anymore. You went through the healing. You lost your fear for it. That's so beautiful. We will remember as the hour strikes, see, and that's the training, as the hour strikes, our function is to let our minds be healed, that we may carry healing to the world, exchanging curse for blessing, pain for joy, and separation for the peace of God. Is not a minute of the hour worth giving it to receive a gift like this? Is it not a little time? Is not a little time a small expense to offer for the gift of everything? Yet must we be prepared for such a gift, and so we will begin the day with this and give 10 minutes to these thoughts, with which we will conclude today at night as well. So here it goes. So we will be still after these words. You know, it's like this is an invitation to actually actively do this in this moment. You give these thoughts 10 minutes. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And I would share my healing with the world, that sickness may be banished from the mind of God's one Son, who is my only self. When I'm healed alone, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And I would share my healing with the world, that sickness may be banished from the mind of God's one Son, who is my only self. Let healing be through you this very day. And as you rest in quiet, be prepared to give as you receive, to hold but that what you give, and to receive the word of God to take the place of all the foolish thoughts that ever were imagined. Now we come together to make well all that was sick, and offer blessing where there was attack. Nor will we let this function be forgot as every hour of the day slips by, remembering our purpose with this thought. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone, and I would bless my brothers, for I would be healed with them, as they are healed with me. So now we just be quiet for a moment with these words in our mind. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone, and I would share my healing with the world, that sickness may be banished from the mind of God's one Son, who is my only self. right. Thank you so much for that. Wow. All right. That's so great. Uh, so, wow. Letting the healing occur. That's what's happening. See, you're in the middle of it, just like I am. That's wonderful. Let it happen. Go through it. Feel it. Don't ignore it. See that you're not alone in doing this. See that the only thing that's being asked right now is to yeah, go through this, to put this little effort in, so to speak, to allow that healing to occur to you. And see that there's no separation, and not validating any idea that you hold about what you think is going on, what you think is happening, what you think should happen, and any of that. All letting that go. See, at the same time you feel that something is opening up in you. You feel that there is a communication that brings us together, and that we're actually receiving in this instant. It is so brand new. It is so brand new what is being given. So allow, yeah, say, taste that. Just allow yourself to be completely open to receive that. The interesting part is that one of the parts of the Miracle Healer's Handbook is also our words necessary in healing. And then, so we're actually doing that lesson or part at the same time in this class is what I realize now. It's like we had our quiet times. We had a moment in which we just allowed the healing without any words to occur to us. See, words are only helpful not to tense up too much with your mind in terms of releasing tension connected to the idea that you think that you have to do something or be better, or having, holding on to old ideas about yourself. Well, we, at this stage, in this place where we find ourselves with our experiences with healing, it is actually, it can be quiet too. Yeah, absolutely. So are you feeling that communication? Are you feeling that what is going on here? And also the newness of what is occurring? So, and how does that feel for you? Are you scared, or are you contracted, or are you just willing to completely open up and see that that's a real opportunity for you to literally enter into this new place altogether? How would the world look if the thoughts of sickness have been banished? Well, you helped with that a great deal today. It's like, imagine how the world will look when that is gone. Well, it is gone, It did happen. It is gone. So now it's up to you not to bring back the old ideas back into your mind again, and validating it. No, it is brand new. This is so new that it is even free of the idea of sickness. See, and that goes on and on. So we started our class and we end our class with this. It's like, can you see how over this is all the time? It's like literally everything is lost, is gone, is over. And at the same time, what is just there. And we don't need our eyes for that. We don't need our senses for that. No, this comes from a whole different place. The recognition of that is coming from a whole different place in ourselves, where there is the knowing that is ours. You know, your soul knows. You literally have a part in you, a complete and whole part in you that just knows. It doesn't need to be concerned with perception. It doesn't need to be concerned with what it sees and what it, ideas that it holds about what you think is occurring in a place that doesn't even exist. You know, so that is, I know that goes quite far. But in order for you to come into the recognition and the experience of the fullness of your soul, the fullness of living, this is one of the prerequisites to let that occur. So when you touched it today, you can feel that. You came very close to the edge of that. Or maybe you even stepped a little bit over the edge. That would be so wonderful. You know, so this is great. I'm really happy that you are part of this moment of healing that we just had together. So thank you so much for that. And I hope to see you at the seminar. That would be great. Thank you so much.